Bear News Reality. Cut through the noise. See what's really happening. No spin, no script. Just facts and fire.
Welcome back to Bear News Reality. This program contains news reporting, analysis, and commentary intended for informational and educational purposes. We do not promote harm, violence, or illegal activity. Our goal is to explain events, examine impact, and hold systems accountable. Today we're talking about Rock the Country, not the promo version, not the artist bios, not the It's Just Music talking point. We're talking about what this tour actually is, how it's being used, who chose to walk away, who chose to stay, and why neutrality does not exist in an environment like this. Because this isn't a festival that accidentally brushed up against politics. This is a tour built around political identity, driven by it, marketed with it, and sustained by it. Let's start where this starts, with the headliner. Kid Rock is the engine of this tour, not just musically, culturally, and politically. And let's be accurate, because accuracy matters. It's not that Kid Rock failed to evolve as an artist, it's that his relevance faded with age, like it does for a lot of artists in this industry. That happens. That's normal. What wasn't inevitable was what came next. Instead of letting his career settle where it naturally landed, he chose to replace relevance with outrage. Politics didn't become his belief system, it became his strategy. Grievance sells when the music doesn't chart, and grievance doesn't require creativity. It just requires anger, spectacle, and a steady enemy. That's the environment Rock the Country is built on. Now, this is where the excuses start. We keep hearing, some of these artists aren't political. That doesn't matter. And here's the cleanest way to understand why. Imagine you're sitting in the backseat of a car. The front seat passenger is dealing drugs out the window. You're not selling anything. You're not holding anything. You're just riding along. The police lights come on. The car gets pulled over. Everybody gets out of the car. Everybody gets handcuffed. Everybody gets questioned. Why? Because in that moment, association matters. It doesn't matter if you say I wasn't dealing. It doesn't matter if you say I didn't agree with it. It doesn't matter if you say I was just along for the ride. You were there. You benefited from the ride. You accepted the environment. That's guilt by association. And that same logic applies here. If you are traveling across the country on a tour where the headliner is openly MAGA aligned, where grievance politics are baked into the branding, and where political signaling is part of the crowd energy and stage environment, then your presence amplifies the platform, whether you speak or not. You don't get to stand on the same stage, take the same check, benefit from the same audience, and then claim neutrality. Silence doesn't erase context. Presence creates responsibility. So let's name names clearly and completely. Here are the artists who pulled out. Ludacris pulled out. His team called it a mix-up. The timing was immediate. He didn't argue. He didn't posture. He exited. Whether you buy the explanation or not, the reality is clear. He didn't want the association. Morgan Wade pulled out. No statement, just action. Carter Faith pulled out. Same thing. Quiet distance. None of them attacked Kid Rock. None of them turned it into a spectacle. They simply chose not to ride in that car. If this tour were just music, people wouldn't be leaving, but they did. Now let's talk about who stayed and what they've said. Jason Aldean has said nothing. Silence. Same strategy he's used for years. Say nothing, let the base cheer, cash the check. Miranda Lambert has said nothing. Career-safe silence. Blake Shelton has said nothing. Avoidance. Creed has said nothing. Reunion tour energy, no engagement. Jelly Roll has framed his participation as being for the fans, but presence is still presence. Standing on the stage still contributes to the platform. Silence in this environment is not neutrality. It's a calculation. They've decided the association is acceptable. They've decided the backlash is worth it. That's their right, but it's still a choice. Then there's Shinedown, specifically their drummer, Barry Kirch. He publicly called Ludacris a coward for pulling out. Let's be honest about that. That's tough talk from a distance. That's bravado with no risk. Calling someone a coward when you know you're not going to face real pushback isn't strength. It's posturing. and it exposes how one-sided the free speech argument really is when it's only used to punch down or sideways, never up. Here's the core reality, and this is the part people keep trying to dodge. You don't have to speak the message to carry it. You just have to stand there while it's being pushed. When you share the stage, the branding, the crowd, and the tour bus, you share responsibility for the platform. That's guilt by association. This isn't cancel culture. This isn't censorship. This isn't about forcing beliefs. It's about accountability. Artists who pulled out understood that association matters. Artists who stayed silent made a different calculation. What they don't get to do is pretend they're not part of it. And now we come all the way back to where this started, Kid Rock, and to the moment that made this turn undeniable. When Bud Light sent a single promotional can to Dylan Mulvaney for a Pride campaign, one can, not a law, not a mandate, not a policy, Kid Rock didn't respond with criticism or conversation. He filmed himself shooting up cases of Bud Light. Not satire, not commentary, not humor, rage content. That was the moment where politics stopped being something he talked about and became something he performed. That was the moment he decided anger would be the product. The message wasn't about beer, it wasn't about marketing, it was about signaling who he hates, daring people to pick sides, and turning resentment into applause. That's why he became political. Not because of values, not because of policy, because outrage kept him relevant. And Rock the Country is the continuation of that choice. Kid Rock is not just conservative. He is openly and aggressively hateful toward Democrats and anyone on the left. Not disagreement, not debate, hatred. And when you build a tour around that energy, when you get on stage next to it, when you say it's just music, you're ignoring the very thing that built the platform you're standing on. You're telling half the country they're the enemy, and that's the cost of riding in that car. That's the reality. That's the stance. If you like this story and you like honest, hard truth and facts, and your feelings weren't hurt, please subscribe to the channel, like and share. This is Bear News Reality.
Bear News Reality. Cut through the noise, see what's really happening. No spin, no script, just facts and fire. This is Bear